Hello everyone, this is Pal Ponder on Weather coming at you with another video. In today's update, we're going to be talking about a northeast snowstorm that will bring some heavy snow for them at times, as well as a widespread freeze coming up for Halloween. So before I do get started, if you do like weather-related content, please subscribe to my channel, as I will upload about 5 videos a week to keep you updated. And also, I do ask you to share this video with your friends and family that may be impacted by this potential storm. So now let's kind of delve into the details. What we're looking at here is the Southern Oscillation Index, and this was actually a key indicator from this potential storm all the way back about 2 weeks ago. You can see it was positive before then, but then when it went negative back on the 14th, and this is always a lagging indicator. What this basically indicated is the southern jet was going to get more active. That's what was able to create the storm down in the Caribbean. It changed the pattern for Texas and brought them a lot of rain for the south. And then this is going to be the culprit of it swinging up the northeast coast and bringing the potential snowstorm that's coming up for Friday, this week. And you can actually kind of see, even we went positive again in the SOI index, but now we went negative again on the 25th. And with a lagging indicator, we are expecting another storm in the Caribbean to develop potentially the first week of November. And then look, 2 weeks after that, maybe another storm for the Northeast, around the 10th, 11th time frame. So we'll just see how that plays out. But now let's take you back and where we are now. Here is Tuesday as of this morning. Zeta impacted Cozumel, and then it's coming off the coast, and we have a major ice storm in Oklahoma. This was just incredible for it to happen so early on this time of year. But this is what we're looking at for the Northeast as this will swing up throughout the week, and will make landfall right around Louisiana into Mississippi and Alabama sometime overnight Wednesday into Thursday morning. But this will tie into a low pressure for the Northeast and bring some very cold air on the backside. And we can see by Friday morning, overnight Thursday night, Friday morning, we start to get some of that colder air kind of wrapping into this storm that's coming up from the south. And we'll have rain on the south side, but we'll start to have some sort of transition from some wet snowflakes flying into the air, and New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and this will only intensify as it gets colder. Now let's kind of take a look at some of the temperatures of what we're looking at by that time frame, and you can see we're kind of making that transition that it'll be warmer on the south, but definitely cold enough to make that transition to snow on the north side, and much of Vermont and New Hampshire and into Maine. And then as we kind of take you through the period, by Friday morning, we're definitely cold enough to have that transition to all snow, and a lot of this will be like basically a heavy wet snow, because we'll be 34 and kind of falling. But as this low pressure sits off the coast, and as the rain will help pull down some of the colder air aloft and kind of make that transition a little bit faster. And this will be a heavy snow in parts of New York, Vermont, especially around in the Vermont and New Hampshire area, and start kind of delving into Massachusetts, as some of that cold air will bleed in from the north. But if we take you through Friday, that colder air again will kind of make that transition a little bit further south throughout the day as the colder air aloft gets pulled down. And now we're making a transition. Of course, we're having daytime temperatures now, so this will be just a wet, heavy snow in a lot of places, especially in the middle corridor. Not everybody's going to see the snow. A lot of you guys in Pennsylvania, especially like Pennsylvania, I'm not really expecting much snow for you guys, like in New Jersey. But maybe in the upstate PA, you might see a transition, but definitely into up in New York, and especially like in Vermont and New Hampshire area. That's where I think in the bullseye is going to take place. and then it'll eventually get into Maine by Friday afternoon. Massachusetts Friday afternoon, and then get into portions of Connecticut. And along the coast, it's going to be difficult to make that transition with the warm water vapor. But now let's take a look at, as we go. Now we're talking getting into a little bit nighttime hours. So now we're having the help of the sun won't be out anymore. So it'll be naturally colder just because we won't have the sun, and that will help keep that transition a little bit longer, bringing that snowfall a little bit further south now into Connecticut, getting into portions of even Boston, where you might have go from a rain to a quick changeover to a snow before it all ends for you guys in Boston. But yeah, if we take a look at some of the temperatures and what we're looking at, even by late Friday afternoon, about 6 o'clock, we're definitely going to start being cold enough in much of Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Connecticut, and then obviously in Massachusetts, and of course we'll get close enough to freezing into Boston. Of course, at the end, maybe like 29 degrees. Eventually, that's why I'm thinking a very transition from a snow on the backside. So I'm not expecting it to stick or anything in Boston, but this is where you're going to be your demarcation line with the snow in the upper 20s, and you can see where it's not going to snow. We'll hang back in the mid 30s and much of Pennsylvania. But now let's take a look at what it looks like by Saturday morning. Getting into Saturday morning, that snow will be quickly moving out off the coast, but some leftover changeover. That's where I think we're going to make that transition into Boston. But by Halloween morning, then you're talking widespread freeze for much of the Northeast, even into Idaho, Indiana, Ohio, much of Michigan, PA, and then all of it. You can tell where it gets a little bit colder because you can tell where that snowpack is. You'll even drop down in the teens in some places in New York, and getting a little bit colder where the snow fell in Vermont and New Hampshire as well, especially in Maine. So this is a widespread freeze for coming up for much of you guys. You may not get a freeze in on the coast of like New Jersey. Like I said, Boston's going to be fairly close, 29, 30 degrees. But very interior, you're definitely going to be able to get a freeze and a widespread freeze at that coming up for Halloween. But as far as amounts of snow, it's pretty impressive for this time of year. And this is mainly an inland event. It's not typically like a coastal event because this could be rain on the south side. But like I said, I'm not really expecting much snow for you guys in Pennsylvania or New Jersey. But as we get into the interior portions of New York, yeah, we could see 4 to 8 inches in spots. And yeah, we could see some isolated foot amounts in Vermont and New Hampshire. But more likely, 4 to 6 inches for you guys up that way. And then, into Maine, we could see some heavier spots as this kind of just collides in that baroclinic zone around this area in Maine. From 6 to 8 inches in isolated spots up to a foot would be possible, and then not much expecting in Boston and mainly a rain, but then we'll make that transition later on in the evening to some snow before this actually moves off the coast of the Northeast. So yeah, definitely look forward to some snow for you guys in the Northeast and a widespread freeze coming up. I do appreciate you watching. Be sure to like this video and leave your comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel to catch me in the next video where I protect you before and after the storm.